Welcome to this news episode. In this episode, I will talk about how I finally upgraded. I will tell you a story about how I went about to buy wood and the hilarious situation there, followed by the difference between an electric screwdriver drill and an impact driver. And lastly, I'll do a quick update on the following few videos as a few things have come up and things are slightly different. But anyway, let's go. So, as many of you know, I've been a little bit frustrated with my table saw. While it's a good saw, especially for entry level, I feel it takes so long to make it cut because the fence, you need to make sure everything's parallel and it's aligned. You have this extension fence, which is a real pain to set up, if I may say so. I think this is a fantastic job site table saw and also good for the bit of DIY if you do around the house. However, for me, especially doing the videos, I want to do the cuts much quicker. So I decided to look around for an upgrade, and this was quite a while ago because I couldn't decide what, because machines like these are quite expensive if you're looking proper. And I wanted to find a decent machine, so I decided to go sort of a step up from this and upgrade. Maybe I went a little bit too far. Right, well, this is a monster of a machine, and I know it's not really entry level. I think from where I am, I'm building so much stuff, I just decided, I want something decent. Now this is by far not the top range of the machines, and I know if over time other people see it, they'll all say, oh, this is wrong, that is wrong. It's not the best at the top of the range. But I think for someone who's doing this as a hobby, this is way more than enough. It's just so much better than what I had before. I literally went from 21 centimeters width between the fence and the blade to 80, nearly a meter if I put it at a stretch. Absolutely fantastic. The other side is I have like the European style sliding panel here, so this whole thing slides, which is absolutely fantastic because I can cut whole panels on here. So one of the biggest frustrations I always have is, sorry about that. One of the big frustrations I always have is when I get the big sheet plywood, I have to use the hands, the circular saw. Sorry, again, I really struggle with that, it's strange, huh? Anyway, I need to use a circular saw to cut it down and then recut it and make it accurate. And I have this range where, you cut it down, say you need something exactly 60 centimeters, you cut it to like 62 with a circular saw, and then I'm stuck with that small table saw. I won't have this problem here anymore. I can literally break it down from the massive sheets all the way down to the smallest pieces. What else? There's a few minor things. I've got like super fine adjustment here. I've got extra sort of extension arm space to put the sheet goods on there. The blade, all the scales are super dead on accurate. I still need to fine tune the table slightly. I spent all of last weekend assembling this. Tidying the garage and then the next day assembling this. So thank you to my family for letting me do that and helping quite a lot. And what I'm planning to do is show a video on that, but I'll talk about it later. But anyway, this is my new baby. I will definitely be using it in the next videos that come out. So yeah, really looking forward to playing with this. Man, that is absolutely fantastic. I love using it. Right, the next thing was I finally bought the wood for Max's bed. It's 5 big sheets of plywood. It should actually arrive today, so I'm quite excited. They called me this morning, said they wanted to deliver it. But on top of that, what I bought is also bought some hardwood. I bought some more oak because I'm out and oak is one of the nicest woods to use. I also bought some beech, which is quite a light wood to contrast that, as well as some chestnut, which is again is a little bit of a darker wood, and I'm hoping to make some cool projects out of that. One particular is for one of my biggest fans to build something for their home that they have requested. I'll blend it in here. if you're not sure what that is, it's a rack to hang up medals and so forth. So I'm hoping to get that project in. That's why I'm really pushing to get the round table done. But yeah, so the fun part about the buying of the wood was that you think, you know, you go, like you've seen all the other YouTube videos, you go into a big lumber yard or lumber store and you say you want that. Well, for me, that's not that difficult. My Spanish ain't the best. And after like some to and fro email, I kind of said I wanted this, and they said, right, come out and you have to choose the wood. Man, I get there, they say to me, yeah, just go down here, choose the wood. I speak to this guy, I'm trying my best. I'm like really impressed that we sort of, you know, understanding each other in our Spanish. I choose the 3 beams of wood, I go back up and it's time to pay. So I'm standing in the queue and I'm just like waiting, and I see there's a young chap who helped me initially, who understood me, and then there's an old guy who doesn't seem to understand all the other Spanish speaking folk. Who do I get? The old guy. And bless him, he was great, but it took forever. At first, he didn't realize that I needed the plywood as well. He thought I was just wanting to buy the beams and that the rest of the order I no longer need. Then he didn't realize that I needed the delivery done to my house. Even though I said that like 4 times, and he, well, I guess maybe I didn't say it, I don't know. And you know, he thought I was gonna load it into my little Toyota, which is, that ain't gonna happen. So they know. I finally get that through, and then as I'm about to leave, my address is totally wrong. I mean, this is the difficulty when you live in a country and you don't learn the language, and that's totally down to me. What should have been like literally 20 minutes in there, maybe half an hour, turned out to be like an hour and a half. But doesn't matter, because it will arrive today, and I will finally be able to start on that bed and finally have some more fancy wood and get away from working with just MDF. So, as promised, I want to always do something that I learned, or something that you can learn from me that I have learned, if that makes sense. Does it make sense? Right. This part is the segment where I teach you something. At least that's the plan. So, one of the questions I had from a friend who was visiting is like, why do you have, you know, these different machines? What's the difference between just this electric drill and that electric drill? Well, firstly, this is an electric drill, this is an impact driver, and this is an electric drill or a screwdriver. So this is like a hybrid. These are quite common. I really love this thing because it's super light and small. But this is a drill and electric screwdriver, and then you have an impact hammer. Now, why would you have the difference? Well, it's quite simple. This one works like a traditional drill and screwdriver. It rotates, right? It has a little bit of a hammer function, although this one doesn't, but you get some for, you know, when you drill into the wall, you need a bit of more oomph. But they in essence just rotate. Now these are different. These are designed specifically and mainly to drill screws into things, particularly wood in this case. And what it is, it's called an impact driver, because not only does it twist the screw, it also has this big impact hammer sitting inside that just like knocks it in to give it extra force. Just to show you, I would like to demonstrate the 2 differences. So this is with the normal drill. I set it to the fastest speed on drill. This is just a normal 2x4, or the closest equivalent we get here in Europe. And it's not the hardest wood, so I don't really have hardwood, hence I ordered some, but just to show you the difference. So if I wanted to get this into the wood, I start it, I drill it down. So I just drill it around, it takes quite a long time. Now, this is the difference between the drill and the impact driver, right? So the impact driver, I also started, set it the right way first, start it, and then watch this. And that's in there, right? I mean, that's what this is fantastic for. It's like if you need to do a lot, and I guess this is even better on a job site. If you're building like the frame of a house and you have to put in like a few hundreds of these, this is fantastic. And the same goes for coming out, right? The same goes for taking the screw out. It's super quick and painless. Be careful, the screws get bloody hot when using this. This one on the other hand is obviously much slower because you're limited by the speed. And now I know it's got like a gearbox in there that you can change it. However, that is just designed for drilling rather. You should be going a bit slower with screws, I guess, because you won't have enough torque on the head of the screw. Now, is this perfect for everything? No. You need to be careful because this thing has a lot of force and velocity. It'll ram that screw in there. So if you have something smaller, more delicate, it's often preferable to use this or even your hand. Particularly like imagine you screwing in these tiny screws when you put a hinge onto a box. You don't want to be using this because you will break your wood or your hinge or everything, right? So you need to know when to use it. But for most projects, this is super useful. So, I was cleaning up the garage, as you saw in my post on social media, and I found this. So, as I found, we had a corner where there was still some stuff from the previous owners. Mainly, it looked like bags of cement, and amongst it was this really funky ashtray. It's like just a root in an ashtray. I mean, no one smokes in our family, well, by my mom. So I guess when she visits, but she said she's gonna stop. You better stop, Mom. But yeah, I think it's pretty cool use of some old root. It makes it look better than just normal boring ashtrays. That said, videos. So I have a slight problem that I do not have a video bar this one for this week. I was hoping to release news and a project video. However, I spent the whole weekend setting up that table saw, and that video still needs loads of work and editing, because what I wanted to do is that one to be a bit more instructional, because I couldn't find a video on how to assemble that table saw. So I wanted to make that so that anyone else buying that has a bit more help. The manuals are good, but they're not the best. And there were some points where you're like, what? And you have to kind of figure out what to do. And I feel like if you can look that up on the internet, because that's how I do most of this, it will be helpful to other people. That does mean that I don't have another video. Beyond that, I will continue on the router table. I'm really pushing to finish that quick. I don't know how much I can do this weekend. Assembling that table, I think, pulled my back, and this week was just sitting in the desk mostly for my job. It's just gone worse. I hope that it's getting better now. Today was already better, but I might not be able to do as much, so we'll see how far I get with the router table. I'll definitely put something out there. Other than that, I'm going to also start on the bed very soon. My wife and child are on my case to get that bed done. So that'll be happening. And like I said earlier, I've already got the next project beyond that planned. I might do them in parallel, because I feel like the metal rack is something that I can do fairly quickly. Yes, I just knocked on wood. You know what happens when I say fairly quickly. But yeah, I think that's it. So I would love to hear some comments and feedback. Please leave stuff down in the description or the comment section. And I will see you next week. And like always, please subscribe and like.